Yes, welcome back to New Day Cleveland. What's on the menu? Gumbo is on the menu thanks to the Bayou. We welcome owner Tony Banks and chef Tony Sutton. Two Tonys, right?
T&T.
Two Tonys, somehow called Antonio, the double T's, and they are here cooking. You guys are in Merriman Valley in Akron.
Yes, we are.
And you brought a little bit of the South up to Akron.
That's what we tried to do. We love New Orleans food and thought it'd be a good opportunity to do it here.
I love it too, man. I got to get on a plane usually to have it, but now I'm discovering something new. What is Antonio making over here?
Well, he's actually starting the gumbo, and he's sauteing some of the ingredients. He's the vegetables and the produce, as well as some of the protein that goes in the gumbo dish.
So how do people confuse? People confuse a lot of those New Orleans dishes, like gumbo, and what are some of the other ones?
Like jambalaya, etouffee.
Etouffee.
Yes.
Some have rice, some don't have rice. Some are like some soup. Well, tell me the difference between those.
Well, gumbo is actually originated. Some people think it originated in France, but it actually originated from Africa and had a French influence on it. And it really started out with okra as the main ingredient, along with chicken.
Which is a little bit of a thickening agent, isn't it?
It's a thickening agent, right.
Yeah.
It started out with okra and chicken, and then when okra became short, they went over to a product they called filet, which comes from a sassafras leaf.
Right.
And so that's where the French influence started to come in. So gumbo is really a thick broth called roux that you combine with rice, and then you add your protein soup. Whereas jambalaya has a lot of the same ingredients, but it's much drier. It's not soupy like gumbo is, and it has a little bit different flavor depending upon your recipe. And then there are no real right recipes.
That is the great thing about going to New Orleans. You order, it's always got the chef's own twist. So what does Tony do different here that makes it special done at the Bayou?
Well, most of the differences are really the spices you decide to put into your recipe. So again, most gumbos start off with chicken and
look at that
filet or something. Where in our case, we like to do a Cajun gumbo, which has shrimp in it, has crab meat, sausage, and a lot of other ingredients that we won't tell everybody what they are. But
I know you have to have some secrets. Yeah. This looks fantastic. And Tony, these are grits on the bottom here, right?
This is shrimp and grits right here.
This is the shrimp and grits. And a lot of people don't know what grits are. You say grits to people. Some people get a little scared.
Yeah.
And what are grits?
Well,
they're grits.
They're grits, yeah. I mean, they're without anything, they don't have much taste or anything to it, so you really have to figure out.
My mom was from the South, Houston and New Orleans. She grew up, and we'd have grits for breakfast sometimes, with a little bit of milk, a little bit of butter, and she told me that grits are the little inside of a corn kernel. Like you squeeze a corn kernel, what comes out of that corn kernel is a grit. So you need a lot of corn things to make a big bowl of grits like that, huh? Yeah. So what's he making now?
So this is the gumbo he's going to make. So what he typically does is you start out with a base called a roux, and then he's going to saute in some vegetables and produce, and you see he have.
So you put sausage in this one?
Yeah, he has sausage in it.
You use andouille, or what do you use?
Andouille sausage. We use andouille sausage. We use crab meat, and we also use shrimp as our proteins. And it has chicken already made into the gumbo mix. So again, the spicing is what really makes the difference. A lot of people think New Orleans, they think hot and heat, and that's not necessarily the case. You really want flavor.
What's the difference between like andouille and like kielbasa or something like that?
Well, andouille sausage has a little bit of a unique taste. Kielbasa, most people wouldn't even be able to tell the difference.
Right.
But if you're from New Orleans, you'll know the difference between andouille sausage and some of the other sausages and kielbasa and that kind of thing.
That's why when you sit down at the Bayou, the food tastes a little bit different than any other place you've been, because it's authentic New Orleans style food.
That was our objective, right?
So where did you find this guy?
And we actually found him in Akron, believe it or not. Yeah, so and the story is, when we moved back to the north and then we ended up in Akron, my wife and I, we would have different fundraising events, and we would always serve Cajun style, because she brought back some recipes, and she was the main ingredient developer, if you will. And so we brought some people in, gave them our ingredients and recipes, and Tony did a great job in making it a little bit of his own as well.
So Tony, how did you learn how to cook this style food?
Actually from him.
No kidding. Is it a difficult style of food, or it's just the ingredients that make it special?
It's just the ingredients that make it special. Gumbo is like real great, hearty type of, I guess, food.
Yeah, it's like a big stew.
Right.
It's like a big stew. Let's talk a little bit about this platter, because this platter, is this one of those bag dinner kind of things?
No, it's actually not. So this is our signature meal.
This is it.
Our boil.
Look at this baby. Look at that. That's a boil. So what's in a boil, and how do you do it?
Well, the way we do it, you can actually have one or all 5 of the different seafoods. You have shrimp, you can have crawfish, of course, scallops, lobster tails, and crab legs. we put all of them in one just to kind of show the variety of things that go into a dish.
What's wrong with your lobsters? They're stunted here. What happened to these babies?
Well, those are the baby lobsters.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, those are crawfish.
These are crawfish.
A lot of people like to eat them. And the reason we offer other shellfishes is because a lot of people don't like to take the time to work to get the meat out of this little tail here.
Right.
So we do it with lobster, we do it with crab legs and shrimp.
We used to have a girl that worked here. She was an anchor here, and she said when she lived down there, what they do is they'd eat the tail, then they'd suck the head.
Yeah, and that's where all the flavor is.
And that's where all the flavor is. How about that? And then we've got a great little dessert here.
Yeah, so that is our version of beignets, which is a very popular dessert down in New Orleans.
I like that.
And so we do beignets as well. And we do a lot of other typical New Orleans and or Southern type dishes, such as, like I said, jambalaya, etouffee.
So we got Tony here. He's plating that up, so you see the difference in this big, beautiful stew. And if you want to taste the difference, just head down to the Bayou on Merriman Road. You are?
We're actually on Akron Peninsula Road in the Merriman Valley.
Okay, in the Merriman Valley, Akron Peninsula Road. It's in Akron. Just check them up. There's not that many places you can confuse it with. The Bayou.
No,
I mean, it's New Orleans and it's in Akron. Thank you, Tony, for a nice job.
Thank you.
That has rights on the top.
Yeah.